What's up, Eagles Nation? Of course, welcome to Week 6 of the NFL season. Of course, kicked off last night with the Patriots over the Giants on Thursday Night Football. I guess not a huge surprise there. All the referees still don't know what pass interference is. I guess they just don't like the challenges, so anytime it's challenged, they don't care. What is it? You can wrap your arms around someone as they're trying to catch them. It's okay. Yeah. Is what it is, and I know I didn't have a recap of last week's game, the 31-6 win over the Jets. Apologies about that, but honestly, 31-6. What the Eagles did what they had to do, what I hoped that they would do, take care of that team, put them away, and win the game. And I know that there were Eagle fans and alike that were nitpicking after the game about the Eagles' offense. Oh, they didn't score enough points, blah, blah, blah. I've always said this, and I'll always say this. I don't care how you win, just win. It's the old Al Davis saying, just win, baby. That's all. Just win. It's a notch in the dub column, okay? And that's where you want to be. At the end of the season, you want to have more notches in that column than not, okay? Because then you have a shot at the playoffs, and then you have a shot to do some big things, as we remember from a few years ago. Viking fans remember that, too. Of course, I say that because it is the week. Of course, the Eagles are going to Minnesota, where the last time they were in that stadium, they did something very special. Of course, winning Super Bowl 52. And look, I get it. The Viking fans hate us. It is what it is. They're always going to hate us. Instead of being upset with their team for losing the game, they took it out on the Eagle fans because the Eagle fans were rude or whatever. Whatever. It is what it is. I understand. Believe me, for years, I had to watch season after season of the Eagles not winning a Super Bowl. I saw them in a Super Bowl. They lost in Super Bowl 39. I saw them in NFC title games losing at home, losing to teams like Tampa Bay and Carolina, losing to the Cardinals, losing to the Rams in the NFC title games. I get it. I understand the frustration of years of wanting to see your team win, and they don't win, and then you're hosting a Super Bowl, and your team had a chance to get there, and they lose, and you're upset, and the Eagle fans were this, and the Eagle fans were that. But the Viking fans, by the way, and I know it wasn't all Viking fans. It was a group of these Viking fans that were doing their skull chants at the Art Museum steps, and they were throwing their Viking garb on the Rocky statue and everything. It got on social media because they wanted it on social media, and then they were surprised that the Eagle fans found out about it because Eagle fans don't go on social media. I mean, I'm on social media right now, but I'm never going to tell a fan base what to do. And you can cheer for your team. You can go on the road. You can wear your colors. You can do whatever you want to do. As far as I feel, it's within a boundary. Okay, when you start going outside the boundary and just acting a certain way and poking at the other fan base and taking some of their the city's landmarks and doing stuff, okay, you get what you get. And particularly if your team gets destroyed in the NFC title game and your fans are there sitting there in their garb, and Eagle fans saw that stuff on social media and they look over and they start saying stuff, and hey, look, a group of drunk Eagle fans threw some bottles, whatever. I don't condone that. Believe me, I don't. I myself am not a big alcohol consumer. I understand that alcohol in sports is a big thing. When you go to games, people get drunk. It happens. It doesn't just happen in Philadelphia. It happens everywhere. All you have to do is go right here on YouTube and type fan fighting. You'll see it in every... I've seen videos of fans in Minnesota doing this stuff, okay? So it's not just something happens here. It happens everywhere. Eagle fans and Philly fans have a reputation, but this is something that happens everywhere. Alcohol in sporting events, it's like shaking a soda bottle. Oh, you open up that cap, you know what happens. Okay? It's a combustible thing. Okay? So it is what it is. And again, I don't condone it, but at the same time, Viking fans, I mean, hey, you're not angels. Okay? You did some stuff here. And apparently they were very vocal and being obnoxious on the streets and all. And again, it was a group of them. It wasn't every Viking fan. And it wasn't every Eagle fan with a bottle in their hand, okay? It's unfortunate what happened. It's unfortunate that a group of Viking fans ruined it for the rest of you. It's unfortunate that a group of Eagle fans ruined it for the rest of us. But it wasn't every single Eagle fan in that stadium. It wasn't every single Viking fan acting like idiots, okay, before the game. But it is what it is. It happened. You can't take it away. You can't undo it, okay? But I get the frustration. I get the being upset, wanting your team win so badly, and you thought you had a shot because they were if they won that game, they were hosting a Super Bowl. Guess what? To win that Super Bowl, oh, you would have had to go through the Patriots. Now, I know Viking fans don't know too much about the Patriots because they haven't been in a Super Bowl since the Patriots became a dynasty. We tangle with them a few times. We know who they are. They know who we are. And let me tell you one thing, okay? Let me tell you this, Viking fans. If you thought it hurt losing that NFC title game to get to the Super Bowl, how much would it have hurt if your team got to the Super Bowl and lost at home to the Patriots? Okay? Because for all intents and purposes, that's what was going to happen. I hate to break this to you, but Case Keenum wasn't going to beat the hoodie and his defensive schemes. Okay? Those things that Nick Foles did to the Patriots, the Philly special, those throws, those touchdowns, Case Keenum wasn't doing that. Okay? He wasn't doing that against the Patriots. So you could say, well, we would have, hosted it and the Vikings, they weren't going to win that Super Bowl. Not against the Patriots. Okay? The Eagles found a way. And they had one of the all-time great calls in Super Bowl history with the Philly special before the first. The Vikings weren't doing that. Okay, before the end of the first half. The Vikings weren't doing that. So the Eagles found a way because they were aggressive. They did the things that they did all year to get them there, and they did it to the Patriots to win a Super Bowl. And it was a very special thing. And I will say this. I say this about every fan base that hasn't won it yet. I hope you all do. Because I know how special it is. I saw it. I lived it. You could go back and look at that video of me, the reaction. I was at the parade. Everything that was a part of it, I took a part of, and it was awesome. It's an awesome thing. Particularly after years of frustration, particularly after years of other fan bases telling you that you're never going to see it. I had a Viking fan on my channel that year after we lost to Seattle, came onto my channel, started trolling me saying I'm never going to see a Super Bowl. That was a Viking fan telling me that. How ironic it was that we beat the Vikings in the NFC title game and won in their stadium to win a Super Bowl. Didn't hear from him after that for some reason. I don't know. He kind of disappeared. So I get it. I get the frustration. But believe me, there are more Eagle fans in this fan base than anything else that care about the team, that will not go out of their way to harm other people because they root for their team. There's trash talking, of course, that's always going to happen, but there's not going to be people trying to hurt other people. It's a few stupid drunk fans, but it happens everywhere. I'm not condoning it. I'm sorry it happened. But again, you came to this city and you poked the wolf in the cage. Okay? And then they were surprised when the cage door opened. What's the wolf going to do? Again, I'm not saying it makes it right. I'm not. I don't want it to sound that way. But to these Viking fans, and they still hate the Eagle fans, it's like an obsession with them. We're not even in your division, okay? So, yes, look, I'm going to put a lid on it with that. But we are going to Minnesota, Eagle fans. And yes, Minnesota, there will be Eagle fans there, okay? I know that Minnesota fans are sick of us by now, but there will be Eagle fans there, and they are going to have their Super Bowl champ shirts, and they're going to wear their, they'll probably have some banners and stuff. Hey, that was the site of the place where this team won their franchise's first Super Bowl. Of course, Eagle fans are going to be reminiscing about that, and I'm sorry if that's too tough for Viking fans to hear, but it is. I've had to hear it from other fans when I didn't win, when I was still waiting for them to win a Super Bowl. I get it. I really do. I've always said this. I've seen everything you can see with one team. Everything. The good, the bad, everything. I've seen them at the highest of highs. I've seen them at the lowest of lows. I know what it is to be a fan. Fan is short for fanatic, and I get that. I make this. I do these vids every week. for this team, for being a fan of this team. Try to break down the games. I'm not the greatest at it, but I do what I can. I have fun with this. If I didn't, I wouldn't still do it. Shout out to my buddy Ron, who reminded me last week after I had a little fun with him for his beloved Cowboys losing to the Packers, a team who the Eagles beat in Green Bay. And saying, oh, you just, make these bleeping videos. To that, Ron, I will say that you are more than welcome anytime to be a guest on this channel, and if I'll be more than happy to interview you as a loyal Cowboy fan in Patriot Land and the trials and tribulations that come to it. But yes, I make these videos. I'm happy to do this. It is something I look forward to doing. Am I the greatest at it? No, but it's something that I enjoy. And people say, well, you should be doing other things. Well, you know what? You do what you want to do. I do what I want to do. Okay? Shout out to Ron, by the way. He and I have butted heads, a few times about different things. But at the end of the day, he's still someone I consider a friend. So much for, there's that. And I wouldn't say things, Ron, if I didn't care. Okay? But you're always welcome. You're always welcome on this channel. If you ever want to, do a vid or something, you're always welcome. Throwing it out there. But I hope we beat your Cowboys. I really do. I want to beat them. So we'll have our first chance at that in a couple weeks. But it is Vikings week. I'm getting way off topic here. It is true. I understand that this is a tough stretch for the Eagles. Obviously, these next 3 games all on the road. They are nursing some injuries. I do like the way Carson's playing right now. Again, no turnovers since the Atlanta game. I think he's playing some pretty darn good football. I mean, people were saying, well, but there's this, there's that. I mean, come on. No quarterback has a receiving core that's dropped as many passes as Carson Wentz. Okay, and with that, he has, 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions? That's pretty damn good. They're 3-2. They could be better. Okay, they could have a better record. Maybe if Nelson catches that ball in Atlanta and goes for a touchdown, it could be different. The Detroit game, there were plays that weren't made. Again, no excuses. It happens to every team. I get it. But at the same time, yeah, I like the way Carson's playing right now. I like the way he's playing, going on the road trip here. 3 tough places to play, 3 tough defenses. But I'll give this team a chance against anyone with number 11 at quarterback. I really do. I like the way this defense is playing. Oh, did they have injuries? Sure. Absolutely. Last week, 10 sacks against the Jets. 3 takeaways, 2 touchdowns. Is that going to happen every week? No. It was good to see it last week. Okay. I think for the most part, they played well. Where they had to play. And they won the point of attack where you have to win. And that's up front. I like the way this defense is playing up front. I like the way week after week they're stopping the run. And guess what? I know I said last week they're going up against a pretty good running back, and they were against Le'Veon Bell. It was the best running back they saw all season to that point, and they shut him down. Now you're going up against a pretty damn good running back again this week in Dalvin Cook. Okay? The Vikings offense revolves around Cook because Kirk Cousins, as we remember, now he has had some good games against the Eagles in the past, and he won last year here with the Vikings against the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. But at the same point, that offense revolves around number 33 again with Cook and their run game. God, I almost said Case Keenum. Boy, there's a blast in the past, a good blast in the past. But Kirk Cousins has had a marginal season. And I know he's coming off a good game last week against the Giants, and their defense is not very good. But they played better last night, but they're not very good. But he is coming off a good performance. Adam Thielen's coming off a good performance. Stephon Diggs is still maybe not as much in the offense as he'd like to be. But they do have two very good receivers in Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Very good receivers. And you're going up against a secondary who has injuries, who's a wounded animal right now, okay? And obviously there's going to be areas where the Vikings could try to exploit. Again, Thielen, very good receiver. You know, great possession receiver, makes yards after the catch. He's the type of receiver any team would love to have. Stephon Diggs as well. And they're weapons. And if you focus too much on the run, they're going to hurt you with the pass. And what leads to the passing game? The running game. You know, running game gets going, the play action fakes happen. The RPOs, all those, things, they happen when you're able to run the ball. And so far this season, teams have had to be very one-dimensional against the Eagles' defense. Now, that one dimension, besides last week, was doing pretty good in the passing game because the Eagles' secondary was not very good and they've had a lot of injuries. So I do expect the Vikings to try to exploit that. I will say this, that Kirk Cousins, even though he has had some good games against the Eagles in the past with the Redskins and then last season with the Vikings, but he's not playing great football as a whole this season. And I think that there are ways that the Eagles could take advantage of that, and the biggest way to do that is to get pressure on the quarterback. The Eagles were able to do that last week, and it led to turnovers, and it really just turned the game on a dime, right then and there. After that pick six, when it became 14-0 Eagles, that was pretty much it. Okay, that was pretty much it. Particularly how the Jets' offense was playing. There will be opportunities to get to Kirk Cousins. The Vikings O-line is decent. I don't think they're great. I think that you can get to Kirk Cousins. You can make some plays defensively against Kirk Cousins. He is one to turn the ball over from time to time, as we know. Yeah, look, as hard as it is, because again, Cooks is a very good running back. The Vikings' strength on their offense is running the ball, but if they can neutralize the run game, make Kirk Cousins one-dimensional, that could lead to some turnovers. Even with the defense that has some injuries in the secondary, it could lead to some turnovers, and that's going to be one of the big points of emphasis this week. One of the big keys is who's going to win that turnover battle. Okay, is it going to be the Vikings? Is it going to be the Eagles? And again, Carson, for the most part, besides the Atlanta game, has done a really good job at not turning the ball over, not being a giver, to a defense. Now, the Vikings have probably one of the best defenses the Eagles are going to see to this point this season, and it is in their building, which is a very noisy building. It's very loud, and those fans, of course, they so enjoy the Eagles in Minnesota. You would think the Eagles are in their division. They can't stand the Eagles. They can't stand Eagle fans. So you know that they're going to be very vocal and boisterous. But how do you shut them up? It's like I said before. You sustain drives. One of the big matchups this week is the Vikings. I believe they have like the number one ranked, if I remember correct, third down defense. The Eagles have the number one ranked third down offense. So that's going to be a clash right there. Who's going to win that battle? I feel if the Eagles can win that battle, they'll have a very good chance to win the game. Because, again, not for nothing, it is Kirk Cousins. It's not like it's discount double check out there this weekend. But at the same time, they have a lot of weapons on offense with Thielen and Diggs and Cook. You want to keep those weapons off the field as much as you can. So that means your offense needs to sustain the drives, win those third down battles. And do what this offense, for the most part, this season has done. I know last week they weren't tremendous on third down, but for the most part this season they have been, and to the point that they are the number one third down offense in the league, conversion offense in the league. They're pretty good on fourth down, too, for what that's worth. So if it comes down to a part of the field where Doug does what Doug does and goes for it on fourth down, got to win those battles. Got to get those fourth down conversions as you would try to get the third down conversions. Keep your offense on the field. Keep their offense and their weapons off the field. Because, going into this game, not for nothing, the Vikings have more offensive weapons than the Eagles do. Deshaun Jackson not going to play again this week. Yeah, I mean it's not as daunting an offense as the Vikings have with their weapons. And they do have Kirk Cousins, who does have problems against teams that are above 500, but it is what it is. Um, I it is good. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat. I'm not going into this game saying, "Oh yeah, it's an easy win. We're gonna take care of business," because you know what, anything can happen. I know it's gonna be a tough game. Um, in a way, I am glad the Vikings won last week, so they're not like this desperation team playing them at home, because that can be tough sometimes. You're playing a desperate team in their building. It can be tough. The Vikings coming off a win, Eagles coming off two straight wins. I do like the fact the Eagles won at Green Bay, so they are capable of winning big games on the road. They've shown they can do that. This team is very resilient, particularly when it comes to injuries. Unlike the Phillies, they don't make excuses when there's injuries. They fight through it, and it seems to be that's when they're at their best. It's like they need something to go wrong for them to really start showing up in games, and to really kind of kickstart them. So they still have injuries, uh, defensively, offensively. But like I said, I like the way number 11's playing. I like the way this offense is playing for the most part. I don't like the drops. Again, this team kind of leads the league in drops. Is what it is. What can you do? Gotta get better. No Darren Sproles, I believe, in this game, so they're a little shorthanded at running back. But I do believe this is a game where, again, run Jordan Howard. Run Jordan Howard. Okay, the Viking fans do the skull. We got to do run Jordan Howard, okay? Because he knows that defense. He played all those years in Chicago. He knows that defense, just like he knew the Packers defense. You ran him there and you saw what happened. Oh, look. And I said it before the trade. He knows that defense. He didn't use him as much as he should have. We saw what happened. Saw what happened against Green Bay, though, and they are playing a team that he knows that defense. Now, they know him, but he knows them. He knows Zimmer's defenses. He knows how you got to run against those defenses. He has that inside scoop against that defense, and you got to run him. Okay, run him. Sustain those drives. Win the time of possession. Win the drives. Convert on third down. Convert on fourth down if you have to. Keep Thielen, Diggs, and Cook off the field. Keep those guys off the field as much as you can. Okay? Because they are weapons. And they are good players. Win at the point of attack. Win in the trenches as this team has done in the past few weeks. Particularly offensive line playing really good football right now. I know Kelsey had that one snafu, snapping the ball over Carson's head. He's a father now, so. But no, there are going to be areas in this game the Eagles should win, and if they could do that, they're going to get out of Minnesota as they did in Super Bowl 52 with a win. Hey, they know how to win in that stadium. They're 1-for-1 so far in that stadium. So, let's keep it going, okay? Yeah, it's not, the stakes of this game aren't quite as high as it was back in February of that years ago. But it's still, it's a place that Eagles certainly remember, Eagle fans certainly remember, Viking fans remember. But no, find a way. It's a tough. It's going to be a tough, place to get a win against a good team, and against a fan base that's just going to be in full bore against the Eagles. But find a way. Again, find a way to shut them up. Sustain drives, and defense. Win the turnover battle. Get some turnovers, because that Cousins, he'll put the ball up there for you to get. So make sure you get it. Get the turnovers. Win that battle. If you do that and you win the third down battles, more than likely, this team's going to come out of that game 4-2, go into Dallas next week 4-2, and Dallas playing the Jets this week. More than likely, they'll be 4-2. It would be hilarious if they lose this game somehow. Jeez, but no, more than likely, both. If the Eagles do that, both teams will be 4-2 going into that big showdown into Big D next Sunday. But we'll worry about that game next week. This is, of course, the week before. It's Minnesota week. And, do what we got to do to get a win. Keep this winning thing going. It's going pretty good the last couple weeks. Let's keep it going. All right, the weekly Festive 4 is coming up right now. And I know that Festa's been nothing but consistent. 3-1 first 3 weeks, 2-2 the last 2 weeks. I get it, Festive, but is what it is. We move on. Of course, now week 6 with the week 6 Festive 4, the 4-pack of just winners. Again, forget about the point spreads and blah blah blah. That's for Vegas to worry about. Where right now, Festive is just worrying about winners, and these are the 4-pack of teams that Festive believes is going to win. By the way, Festive's record right now sits at, I believe, 11-7, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 13-7. Well, let's see. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-7. Sorry, Festive. I took 2 wins away. The 13-7. So I suck at math. So that was just real quick off the top of my head. 13-7 so far on the season. It's still a pretty good record, right? So let's Festive is hoping for better things this week. Doesn't like being 500 the last 2 weeks. Wants to get above 500. So let's try to do what the Eagles did last week, get above 500. And the first game that Festive likes is Baltimore, the Ravens over the Bungles. There's a few times Festive's gone against the Bengals this week. Hopefully this one continues the way those games went. Baltimore over Cincinnati. Festive also likes Jacksonville over New Orleans. Interesting game there. The mustache man gets a win, I guess. So Jacksonville over the Saints. Hey, the Saints got to lose eventually, right? Yeah, so Festive likes this one. Also likes the Los Angeles Rams to win a big game in the NFC West this week. The Rams over the 49ers. Those undefeated 49ers. Festive believes this is the first week the 49ers are going to lose. And also likes Green Bay over Detroit, because early in the season, remember, Green Bay kept getting wins when Festive thought they would lose. Now Festive wants them to win against the Motor City Kitty Cats. So anyhow, that's it. The Festive 4 again for this week. Baltimore over Cincinnati, Jacksonville over New Orleans, the Rams over the Niners, and finally the Packers over Detroit. I believe that's a Monday night game this week. So the last game of the week could decide things. Well, it will be decided before that if it's above 500. But if you're 2-1 at that point, that game will be the decider whether you'll be above 500 this week or not. And hopefully, Festive's moved the last 2 weeks, being 500. I mean, look, can't you just tell? It's been very disappointing. So yes, it's we're hoping for better things this week. That is the Festive for week 6. And speaking of Festive, of course, Festive very excited with how the Flyers have played right out of the chute. Let's go Flyers, of course, 2-0 right out of the chute. Huge save by Carter Hart, and Festive wants to congratulate Carter Hart on his first career shutout, of course, against those Devils the other day in the Flyers home opener, which they're not playing a lot of games to start the season there. You know, they were in Prague. Now they're going off to the West Coast. But the one thing I will say about the Flyers, they're putting in those travel miles. My God, so far, right? But they're 2-0. Their next game, of course, is tomorrow night against those Vancouver Canucks, all the way on the other side in the Western Canada, of course. So they go from Prague to Philly. Now they're going to Canada. Western Canada. Okay, NHL, thank you. So anyhow, but yes, Flyers off to a 2-0 start. Good start. I know Mark M is the Flyers season of the fan guy, so Festive looks forward to future videos there, Mark, and let's go Flyers. And of course, Festive wants to remind, of course, it is the Cancer Awareness Month, so hey, crucial catch. Let's all find a cure for whatever cancer you want to, show your support for. Of course, the NFL have done the last 2 years now, and I think it's a good idea just to show support for everything, not just the pink, but everything. And of course, the crucial catch. Of course, this is last season's hat, but crucial catch. And let's all stand up to cancer, and let's all find that cure. Let's all find that cure. All right, everyone. Well, Eagles Nation, thanks for watching. As always, thanks for giving me a half hour of your time. And any Viking fans that wanted to watch, thank you too. Hopefully you're not victorious on Sunday. So anyhow, Eagles Nation, like I said, thank you for watching as always. Let's go Birds! Let's keep this winning thing going here. 3 straight, hopefully, in Minnesota at the house of Super Bowl 52. We'll always remember. And let's keep it going right into Dallas next week. So anyhow, that's going to do it for me. Finally, I know it's going to finally do it for me for Festive. Let's go Birds. I'll see you all after the game. Bye. Festive and I would like to remind you, if you enjoyed the content of this video, and why wouldn't you have? It's a wonderful channel. Go ahead and leave that like, comment below, because, you know, we always enjoy communicating. And go ahead and subscribe. And why wouldn't you subscribe? You know, because Festive has ways of finding people if they don't. Just saying. But anyhow, go ahead and subscribe. And once you do subscribe, make sure to click that bell icon. That way then you'll be alerted to any new content from this channel. And you do want to be alerted, because why wouldn't you? So anyhow, enjoy the contents to come from this channel, and go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, click bell icon, all the stuff that, you know, you should be doing, because if you're on YouTube, you should be doing it. So go ahead and do it, and enjoy the YouTube-ness out there. Did that work? Hopefully. Spike the ball. No? Doesn't feel like it.